A TGIF, everyone. Welcome into the First Call podcast, representing First Bet and Express Bet. He's Scott Shapiro. I'm Jeremy Plonk. We're going to handicap some stakes races for you as we do each and every Friday. Programming note, we're going to handicap this weekend, but next weekend we will be off Thanksgiving holiday on Thursday. Typically, we record on Fridays for the Black Friday holiday. We'll be off next week. It's our one a year, so we'll do 51 of these during the course of 2025, all totaled. But again, we will take off next week for the Thanksgiving holiday. So early Thanksgiving wishes to you, Mr. Shapiro, and everybody out there listening.
Yes, you as well, JP. Great holiday. Obviously one that all of us celebrate just about, and should be an enjoyable one. We get good football, we get good racing, we get good family and friends. So pretty much all we guys like you and I want. I don't want to speak for you. You have maybe a hobby or two outside of it, but I'm cool with those things.
That's pretty good. You forgot the food part of it, though. I mean, that's kind of rather important to someone of my size. So we'll include that in there as well. Hey, it's opening week this week at Fairgrounds. They got going earlier this week, as did Tampa Bay Downs. So the racing schedule in some flux right now as we have some new tracks on board. Some other meets will be wrapping up. Churchill will finish up next week over the Thanksgiving holiday. So a lot of time this year where we're going to get opening day of the on Thanksgiving Day next Thursday, we'll get opening day of the Gulfstream Park Championship meet. So a lot of change in the racing calendar right now. That's always a fun and exciting time. So we get past these Breeders' Cup blues here, and we get some new things to look at. We're going to start things off with a look at our handicapping schedule of races that Scott and I will have on the podcast. For those of you watching on X or on YouTube, be sure to like this, share, comment in the comment section, help us grow the audience. For those of you on our longtime audio podcast channels, here are the 8 races that we're about to handicap. For Saturday, November 22nd, we'll start off at Gulfstream Park. The Juvenile Sprint in the spotlight. We had the Juvenile Philly Sprint last week. Juvenile Sprint be race number 6 on the card at Gulfstream. To Churchill we go for the Commonwealth Turf, race number 10 on the program there for 3-year-olds on the grass. Then we'll go out west to Del Mar for the Native Diver, a Breeders' Cup Classic alum back quickly in that one. We'll talk about the Native Diver, race number 8 on the Saturday card at Del Mar. Laurel Park's got a trio of stakes races on Saturday. We will handicap all of these on the podcast. The Willow on the Move Stakes in race number 6, the Dave's Friend in race number 7, and the Richard W. Small Stakes in race number 8. Couple sprints and a route mixed in there. Everything on the main track this time of year in Maryland. And then to New Orleans we go. It's the first Saturday of the meet at the Fairgrounds. 2 stakes races there, the Caldwell Memorial and the Ney Memorial. We'll handicap both of those races. For those of you playing Gulfstream on Saturday, be sure to take part in our $5,000 hit and split promotion with First Bet and Express Bet. Be sure to opt into the promos. There's a $2,500 hit and split bonus if you take down the late pick 4, a similar $2,500 bonus if you take down the late pick 5. So hit and splits means not only do you get your pari-mutuel winnings, but you'll be adding some extra cash. And this time of year, that does not hurt. In fact, I don't know if there's a time of the year when extra cash in your account doesn't hurt, Scott. So let's help the fans get a little bit of that. Let's get started with the racing at Gulfstream Park. One note, if you're playing the racing today around the country on Friday, as we drop this podcast, Del Mar has canceled today because of the rains in Southern California. So once again, Albert Hammond, the old musician, has lied to us. It does rain in Southern California. It did last week. It did this week. So no racing today at Del Mar. They'll be back tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, let's go to the Juvenile Sprint, race number 6, Gulfstream Park. Feature race there, 6.5 furlongs. It's race 6. There's a 6-horse field in here, Scott. Who do you like amongst these juveniles?
Well, I don't think I'm the only one that's going to land on the Todd Pletcher spendthrift runner, local knowledge. Been waiting for this colt to come back because he wanted a very live maiden special weight at the beginning of the fall meet at Keeneland on October 4th. You look back at the race, his effort was strong. He was wide much of the way. And then you look, Gallivan, who finished 3rd, beaten, 2 lengths by local knowledge, came back to win the Bowman Mill by 6 lengths to beat winners in the stakes race. And the 4th and 6th place finishers also came back to win out of that race. So I think we have a colt here. They spent $625K. I don't know about pedigree in terms of Derby, but it looks like Todd Pletcher and the crew wanted to get him down here to South Florida a little bit early for the championship meet. They've got a spot here that it looks like he should handle. and then move forward to maybe the Mucho Macho Man maybe would be on their docket. I don't know if that would make some sense for them, but I think Local Knowledge is going to make a local presence here for Pletcher.
Yeah, Mucho Macho Man be a 1-turn mile right there around the first of the year. Would be a kind of a good spacing and a good progression for this horse to go from 6.5 to the mile. But let's go back and rewind the clock to his win at Keeneland in the career debut. Here is Local Knowledge.
Gallivant leads at 1.5 lengths to Rocky's Balboa 2.5 length. Local Knowledge goes to the outside in Ordinary, tries to move up to the inside and finds an opening to the inside as they move off the far turn, but still has to catch Gallivant. Rocky's Balboa to the outside. Local Knowledge needs to find more, still fourth on the far outside. Moving into the final furlong, here comes Local Knowledge after Gallivant. And then Rocky's Balboa between that pair. Local Knowledge keeps coming after the leader, now has the lead past the 16th pole. Rocky's Balboa to second. Local Knowledge to win it for Dylan Davis. Rocky's Balboa was home second, and then it was Gallivant third.
Bookend this field, Scott. 3 to 5 morning line favorite, Local Knowledge. I think the exacta horse could be down on the inside. Thunder Chuck, 15 to 1 in the morning line. Jorge Delgado, high percentage local trainer, thought enough to take this one to Monmouth over the summer, running in a little bit bigger spot than the Gulfstream summer races. Also went to Saratoga for the Saratoga Special. Now goes blinkers on, gets Miguel Vasquez. I think could be go time for Jorge Delgado's runner in here, Thunder Chuck. I don't think we'll beat the favorite in here, so give me a 6-1 exacta here, and maybe we can get a price under the logical one.
Yeah, the 6.5 furlongs might be the separator in here. Definitely key. You think there would be some speed, as most of these races are in general, especially in South Florida. But I think that makes some sense here. I like the angle where you're coming from. Jorge Delgado could have easily kept this one down south for the summer and picked on some easier horses.
Let's switch gears now from Florida to Kentucky, and we're going to the grass for a turf feature here at Churchill Downs on Saturday. Race number 10 on the card is the Grade 3 Commonwealth Turf. This race has a $300,000 purse, and some horses that were on the Kentucky Derby trail at least for, a cup of coffee for it along the way, trying to get to the Derby. Flying Mohawk made it all the way to the first Saturday in May. California Burrito was part of the scene at Turfway Park during the winter spring last year. They're back here still going strong at the end of the season, and some names that we know, but then there's some others in here who have been top turf horses throughout the course of the campaign. Giacoso in there, Troubleshooting. They're coming off a 1-3 performance where Troubleshooting was the winner last time out in the Bryan Station Stakes. Let's give the fans a chance to look at the Bryan Station with that key rematch back in this spot, and you can tell me if you like those Keeneland alumni or if you're going somewhere else.
Golden Afternoon is the leader. Troubleshooting is there on the outside, and second, a half length separates the top two. Antisocial is third toward the inside, a quarter mile to go. Dream On is fourth, Tenacious Leader fifth. Salamis, Giacoso swing toward the outside. Here's Troubleshooting to take a narrow lead. Golden Afternoon fights on. Dream On looks to the inside. Salamis on the far outside. Tenacious Leader still fourth. Antisocial is still fifth down toward the rail. Troubleshooting has the lead in deep stretch. Troubleshooting by 2. Tenacious Leader's going to take a final run. Troubleshooting in front. Tenacious Leader to second. Troubleshooting wins the Bryan Station by a neck.
That was at a mile. Now we've got to get a mile and a 16th. And with Troubleshooting, he was all turf sprints up to that point. It was a little bit of a surprise that he extended around the 2 turns against that level of competition and was able to hold on. I'm a little against Troubleshooting coming back and winning this right back. I mean, he was 7-2 in that race at Keeneland in the Bryan Station, 7-2 again in the morning line. But I think this is going to present some more challenges adding distance. So who can we take a swing with against him?
Well, you're assuming that I'm against him, and you're assuming correctly, my friend. Right. For most of the same
that
reasons.
Would not have worked out pretty well if you'd have said, no, actually, I love this horse today.
Well, I mean, at least we're doing this spontaneous. I mean, I didn't pick him, but you don't know that I'm that against him. Now, I agree with everything you said. I think it was really, it wasn't a race that was like total dream trippish, but it was a race that I think favored the type of trip that he got. You saw horses like Costa coming on late. I didn't think they had as fair a shot. I think it got him the mile. Now you get a little mile and a 16th. He's got to do it again. Should get a good trip, but I'm going to try to beat him with Montador, who, normally, this horse has raced a lot lately, and he's come out of nowhere kind of and run 4, almost won 4 races since late July. But I take it as a positive that Michael Stidham and Godolphin, who really don't need to win this race, Want to bring him back in 20 days to Riot Run. I mean, after another good effort where he got a really good trip, I just think he's going to get another really good trip here. I don't think the pace will be real hot. I think he'll be in kind of a pocket type trip. Troubleshooting is probably going to get a similar trip, but I'll take my chances out finishing Troubleshooting in a mile and a 16th.
There's some pretty good options in this race. Chapman's Peak at 9-2, going for 3 straight wins. A well-bred, another Godolphin by Quality Road out of a really good mare in Dickinson for the Godolphin Blue. Brad Cox is really kind of on point right now. He didn't have the 2025 that you might expect from Brad's runners, but he seems over the last month or so to kind of really got him going the right way right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if Chapman's Peak's tough in here as well. Under Arad Ortiz, all he did was win 15 races last week. I mean, he's been absolutely tapping in putts everywhere that you look around. But Montador's a horse, the other Godolphin in here, and I kind of like that one a bit as well because this horse was good to me back at Kentucky Downs. The Colonial horses traditionally have run really well at Kentucky Downs, and Stidham's done well with the horses he's brought from Virginia there to the Nashville area. And the Kentucky Downs race for Montador kind of really launched this one forward. That was a good effort, and now ready for the stakes test. Montador, top pick for Scott, and I'm going to piggyback aboard here. Hopefully he can carry the weight of both of us in here. I'm with you on this one. Montador in the Commonwealth Turf at Churchill Downs. Let's go west now to Del Mar. Again, they are canceled for today at Del Mar with the racing. Tomorrow's card expected to go off, and we've got the Native Diver as the feature, race number 8 on the card. 7:02 Eastern, 4:02 local post time for race number 8, the Native Diver. $100,000 stakes race here, and the great Native Diver, I believe, was buried at Hollywood Park, and now he probably gets a good view of SoFi Stadium games.
Man, that would not be that bad. I wouldn't mind that. You get how many? You get 7, 8 and 8. You get 16 games a year. That's more than any season ticket holder gets. You know, you get the Rams and the Chargers.
Native Diver Stakes does have a Breeders' Cup Classic alum in here, and it's the horse Nevada Beach, who won the Goodwood in beating Full Serrano, a Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile winner in there. Nevada Beach in the Breeders' Cup Classic, he found that company a little too tough. 7th of 9 in there, never really got into the mix. This is kind of one of those spots, though, Scott. You come back after the Breeders' Cup at $100,000, it just kind of feels out of place and maybe a little forced. He's had a rather light campaign, right? He's only had 2 starts since June, 5 on the year, but nonetheless, I mean, if you thought this was a Breeders' Cup Classic kind of horse and you won the Grade 1 Goodwood, what are you doing here for $100,000?
That's the way I feel. He's by far the likeliest winner in this race, but the afterthought factor makes it tough to get excited about. It's either going to be a total parade and he's taking this spot because he's banging down the doors and, you know, all the cliches right. He needs to run. But otherwise, I'm going to let him beat me. I mean, he doesn't have a ton of speed. He's got enough to stay close, but I don't see a lot in here. And I think number 1 Indispensable is a little better than his last couple may look on paper. In the ACAC, which is a 1-turn mile, he wasn't able to make the lead, but he went fast enough early to have made the lead in this race. It was Tumbarumba and Most Wanted, who are legitimate horses, grade 3 type animals that we ran 1-2 around the track. The start prior to that, it was the Pacific Classic. He didn't, make the lead against Fierceness, and then they went real fast in there. I think he's going to make the lead in here. I think Westwood is a little bit of a money burner. I think he's going to sit second. I think Nevada Beach will be content to sit third, and I'll just hope that Indispensable will have enough there left late over a racetrack he's got both of his career wins over.
Might get a fair price in there. 3-1 on the morning line because 3-5 is the price on Nevada Beach. The odds makers and the public probably going to hammer on this horse based on the performance that we saw in that Awesome Again.
And here's Nevada Beach right alongside Full Serrano midway on the far turn. Those two race together as one. Pribman is in third. Express Train. First Mission has a lot of ground to make up, and 2 more to Ultimate Gamble. They're at the top of the stretch. Full Serrano and Nevada Beach are head and head coming to the 8th pole. Pribman's in third inside the final 1/8 of a mile, and Nevada Beach is up to take the lead. Full Serrano trying his best, but Nevada Beach now sprints for the wire, and it's a defining moment for Nevada Beach as he wins the Grade 1 Goodwood.
Scott's going to try to beat Nevada Beach with Indispensable. I'm just going to be watching this one, but I will have a rooting interest in Indispensable as well, not only for your bottom line, but an Oklahoma Derby alum. Like to see horses come out of that race and do well to help the race at Remington Park that I support so well over the years. So hopefully we can get some graded points for the Oklahoma Derby with Indispensable taking down potentially a grade 3 here in the Native Diver Stakes. All right, let's go to Laurel Park now on Saturday in Maryland. Trio of stakes races here. All 100 granders, all on the main track. No more turf racing in Maryland the rest of the season. 6.5 furlongs for the Willow on the move in race number 6. Races 6, 7, and 8 are the 3 stakes that we'll look at. The Dave's Friend and the Richard W. Small as well. Willow on the Move was a really good distaffer back in my high school days. Used to watch her run. I believe Charlie Hadry was the trainer there in Maryland. And the kid, Kent DeSormo, back when he was an apprentice, was a regular jockey of Willow on the Move, if my memory serves correctly, when Kent was setting records at Laurel back in the day. Willow on the Move stakes, 6.5 furlong sprint company in this one. Pretty good field size in here, and I think a very competitive race. Probably the strongest of the 3 stakes in Maryland on Saturday.
I think that might be fair. I think the Dave's Friend, which we'll talk about next, is a good one as well. I got a semi-creative opinion in here. I think you look at the field. Actually, I got a more creative opinion in the Dave's Friend, but I like Grammy Girl in here a little bit from off the pace. Take the Money, Honey is going to be the clear one that takes the money, and deservingly so. Nose away from being 5 for 5 in her career. But it's kind of one of those weird spots, coming back off a long layoff, sprinting. She won her sprints pretty nicely, obviously, to kick off her career, but then she turned into a kind of a miler, 2-turn horse. I don't know how her speed's going to be, how it's going to play in this race coming off the layoff as well. Another one of those favorites that I just don't think is a great bet, even if it's the likeliest winner. So I'm going to try Grammy Girl, who's moving up in class here, first ever stakes race, but has kept pretty good company in New York, including last time when she just missed against Senza Parole. It was not the filly we thought she was going to be and dazzled early in her career. But I think she stacks up pretty well against this field. So hopefully Grammy Girl gets a good pace here.
She's one of 3 in here for some big-name barns shipping into Maryland that we don't see on a weekly basis. She's in the Saffie Joseph barn. We've also got one in here coming in, St. Benedict's Prep for Linda Rice, sending one into Maryland. And there was a third one in here as I look down. Tom Amos has sultry last here. Amos, not one to be running horses in Maryland this time of year as well. Grammy Girl from New York via Florida and Saffie Joseph's outfit. Let's take a look last time out against Senza Parole.
Left to go, nowhere to go. Philly Crystal got stopped towards the inside. Same can be said for Army Gal. Senza, Parole, Grammy Girl battles on. Practical Love is still there too. Right now it's this trio. Grammy Girl has put a nose back in front of Furlong left to go. Senza, Parole, these two shoulder to shoulder here down towards the rail. Trying to catch them both is Army Gal late inside the final 16th. Senza, Parole, Grammy Girl down to the line together. Photo to the outside, Senza Parole, Grammy Girl, then came Army Gal and Practical.
Grammy Girl trying to get the nose on the right side of the photo finish, this time taking on a stakes competition in the Willow on the Move. Michael Sanchez, leading jockey at Parks. Interesting rider named here at Laurel for Saffie Joseph Jr. aboard Scott's top pick there in the Willow on the Move. To the Dave's Friend Stakes we go. Dave's Friend, one of the top sprinters in Maryland way back when in the 1980s. This is a race where we've got a couple winners of the DeFrancis Dash back in here. The last 2 winners of it, in fact. The horse who won it this year, Subrogate, the horse who won it 2 years ago in Dean Delivers. So the past 2 winners of the DeFrancis Dash, which is Laurel's most important sprint stakes race during the course of the year, the General George in February. Usually in the summertime, we get the DeFrancis Dash and Subrogate, Dean Delivers, both winners of that race. Dean Delivers seems to be way off form, though, since that win in the DeFrancis 2 years ago. I do think Subrogate's a legitimate contender in here. We'll give the fans a chance to look back at that race in the DeFrancis Dash for Subrogate, and I'll make my case for him, and then we'll find out who you like in here.
Subrogate is third and trying to gain toward the quarter pole, and Caramel Chip has to pick it up. Celtic Contender turns in. Celtic Contender from Dean Delivers by almost 2 through a 45 and 2/5 half-mile fraction. So Celtic Contender's been speeding along, and Subrogate unwinding on the outside. Subrogate, Celtic Contender the lead, and Caramel Chip has come alive. Caramel Chip in between horses trying to come through gamely. Not a lot of room there. Here's Subrogate. Subrogate wears down Celtic Contender. Caramel Chip was third in the Frank J. DeFrancis Memorial Dash.
We're hoping second off the layoff is the key. That was a second off the layoff performance in winning the DeFrancis. In fact, Subergate's run 3 times in his career in that second race form cycle. Won the second race of his career, won second off the layoff a year ago, won second off the layoff this year, now second off the layoff from a June layoff, ran in the Bold Ruler, and now primed for this one. I think the race sets up for Subergate in here, Scott. It's the Express Bet race of the week, and I made this horse just a straight win play in there. I'm all in for Subergate. I'm going to think that he can come back here at Laurel and do it again for Jersey-based connections there, Colts Neck Stable and trainer Jorge Duarte.
Yeah, I can totally see it. I have respect for this barn and respect for the horse. The rail could be his friend, could be his enemy. We'll see how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to shoot a little bit higher here for a horse that I think is going to get the jump on him. I'm hopeful that Maximus Meridius and Twisted Ride are the ones that set the pace. I give Showstopper Copper an outside chance here as well, but I really like Sunny Breeze. And I like him because he's been down on the inside in the last 4 races. I mean, he hasn't got an outside stalking trip in ages. And the thing with his running style is he is his tactical speed horse, but he's not really fast like enough to just need the lead or want the lead. But when you're down inside, you kind of have your hand forced. And last time he was ridden for the lead kind of, and then he got buried down on an inside that wasn't favorable that day. I think he's going to be able to stalk just outside those 2. And if he's good enough, I think this is his chance to get a big win at a pretty decent price here for trainer Edward Allard, who does another trainer that I think does a pretty good job here in the Mid-Atlantic.
Yeah, Allard also has Dean Delivers in this spot. Prince of Jericho is the 5-2 morning line favorite in here. Look, the horse always gets bet, 3-1 or less pretty much in almost every start. But Prince of Jericho for high percentage trainer Brittany Russell hasn't run since February. And this is a horse who doesn't have a lot of layoff lines on the resume, but did win an allowance race at Laurel back in February of 24, coming off an August layoff. But that was pretty workmanlike, and went back and watched that. And it wasn't like a key effort. I don't know that this horse is going to be cranked right off the bench. There's not a lot to kind of give me a sense that Prince of Jericho absolutely is going to relish this long layoff. And I just think this is a horse who's been beaten enough times at pretty short prices that I don't think you need to take another short price. So neither one of us picked Prince of Jericho in here. Wouldn't be a shock if this horse wins, but for me, underlaid.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be one bit surprised. This is a barn very capable off the long layoff. They're Brittany Russell, 14-51, 222 ROI over the last 30 days. So the horse comes in off a nice work pattern, just not the kind of favorite that I want to bet in a field that has some other, attractive options here. Right. Certainly capable, but also does not have to win.
All right, I've got Subergate, and Scott's going with Sunny Breeze in the Dave's Friend Stakes. To the Richard W. Small Stakes, that comes up right next on the card. Race number 8 at Laurel. Of course, Dickie Small, the trainer of Concern, Broad Brush, some of the really good kind of Maryland-type horses who went national and had big stages to run on. Concern, of course, winning the 1994 Breeders' Cup Classic. Richard W. Small Stakes at 1.8 miles, the 100 grander in this particular spot. And we've got a field of 6 in here. All eyes are going to be on Barbadian Runner coming off his win last time out in the Maryland Million Classic. This is a 3-year-old for trainer Henry Walters, who beat older horses amongst the state breds. Now goes into open company. We know the 9 furlongs was achieved at that level, but this horse had run primarily 7 furlongs to 1 mile in previous starts. I'm not 100% sold that Barbadian Runner has to win right back at 1.8 miles, taking on older horses once again in this particular spot. And again, moving into the open company ranks. He could win in here, but I think this is going to be a horse who's another short price, willing to maybe take a little slap against, but I'm not dead set against trying to find one to beat him either.
Last time was the time to have him, and we had him here. We beat post time with him. So I agree. He's the one to beat. He likes to win races. He proved he could get the distance when that was his main question last time. But I mean, I don't think this race is going to necessarily set up for him. He doesn't have a whole lot of speed.
No.
And he's got to answer the questions that you already said. He beat older last time, but state bred. And it was really post time and everybody else kind of in that field. Here, Secret Zipper has not, finished the deal in his last 3 starts, but I think he's going to be out there loose on the lead. And if he can get back to some of his best races in the winter, I think we're going to take a look at one of them. I think he could get very, very brave out there. He comes in fresh. Is that a good thing? I think he's proven he can run fine fresh, so we will see. But Secret Zipper for me seems like Gary Capuano, the trainer, off to a very strong start to the meeting. I mean, I didn't realize it until right now. What a year. 31% and a positive ROI. So, yeah, lots to like here about this horse. He's obviously going to have to hold off some good competition here, the Maryland bred, but I'm going to take my chances.
The longer they go sometimes, the easier the pace is, and the more the front runners kind of have their way. And so while you might look at it and say, look, this horse backed up in the last few at a mile and a 16th and at a mile, why would you want him at a mile and an eighth? We're looking for the tempo to really slow down in this particular spot and still be able to kind of get into a good gallop and get a loose lead, because this horse, Secret Zipper, you're talking about, ran off 4 straight wins during the winter last year, the last of which was a win in a very similar situation to this. 2 turns at Laurel Park in a race without much speed, and boy, did this one get confident.
Secret Zipper opens up 2. Crossland ridden along from the second spot has dropped 2.5, 3 lengths behind. Then Little Lance and Magic Michael. Your analysis is off the inside. Curlin's Malibu last as they pass the quarter pole and head in. Secret Zipper up top by 3. Crossland still trying on the inside is Magic Michael. Little Lance toward the center of the track. A furlong left to go. Your analysis for Share far outside. Secret Zipper ridden along a 3-length advantage. Little Lance and Crossland in between horses. The outside Curlin's Malibu, who dropped back to last, is coming again. Curlin's Malibu second to Secret Zipper.
46-4 was the half-mile split last time when this horse backed up. They're probably going to go 48-49 in this mile and an eighth. And as you saw in that highlight there, when he got 48, he was pretty brave on the front end. If I'm playing multi-race wagers through this race, I'm including Secret Zipper in here. I think this is a spot maybe we can upset the favorite. I'm with you. Pace makes the race, Scott.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's worth noting the last 3 races that we spoke of started off a late pick 4 at Laurel. Obviously, you could play a pick 3, race 9. I looked at that. That's a maiden special 8. So very playable late pick 4 sequence at Laurel with these 3 races we just spoke of. Maybe use some logicals, but I think all 3 of them are at least relatively wide open.
All right, it's opening week at Fairgrounds, and that's where we're headed next to New Orleans for a couple of stakes races on the Saturday card. The Caldwell Memorial, the Delmar Caldwell, first up, 100 grander for the Louisiana breds. 6 furlong sprinters here, fillies and mares on the main track, and we've got a field of 7 in this spot. Let's talk about who you like here in the Caldwell Memorial, Scott.
Yeah, I think a lot of these Louisiana bred stakes races can be somewhat formful. This race looks like a 2-filly race between the outside horse, Secret Faith, the 6-5 favorite, the one coming in with the best form, won a couple of these state-bred special weight, state-bred stakes races over the summer and fall for trainer Jade Gellner. And then you've got Blue Fire, who we know more of because we saw her run in there, we being the national audience, because she ran second in the 8 Bells. Now,
right.
The 8 Bells was not a great race this year, has not come back to be, normally you find it one of the better races for that division. Hasn't been as good, but this is a filly that handled competition down there, but prior to that race, and then moved up there and ran well. And what I really like, Steve Asmussen, he can train claimers, he can do it all. He runs a corporation, but some of his best work comes, I think, when he takes a break on a horse, when some other trainers with top horses are pushing them along to get them into certain races as 3-year-olds. I think Steve knows when to pull back, and usually when he does, he'll re-release them, if you will, at Fairgrounds in the winter. It's the fall, but I think Blue Fire has been pointing to this spot, pointing to these series of stakes races, and I think she'll be a tough customer with our man, if you will, kind of joking, kind of not, Paco Lopez.
Yeah, Paco Lopez suspended nationally for tracks that are under the HISA authority from some violations in riding and crop use and things like that, whip use. So Louisiana, not a HISA state, and therefore he can ride there. He's been riding some at Delta during the night, now starting off this week riding at Fairgrounds for the winter. So Paco Lopez, a ride, Blue Fire, 4 for 4 at Fairgrounds, and almost pulled off the big one on Derby weekend. Let's go back to Churchill and watch Blue Fire second in the 8 Bells.
come off the turn. Look Forward comes away with the lead and kicks away by 2. Blue Fire angles outside, coming with a rally. Mendela's weaving through the pack, and so is Verity. Furlong to go. Look Forward trying to fend off an oncoming Blue Fire. Blue Fire lifting late from far behind. Evanescence is on the scene, but too late. Here's the wire. Look Forward won it. Look Forward, the winner in the end.
Secret Faith will be the one to beat, but Scott thinks we can do it here with Blue Fire. Let's go to the 7th race on the card Saturday at the fairgrounds. Stakes are races 4 and 7 on the card. The 7th is the Andrew Day Memorial.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
There's a third stake that's the 9th on the card. So I just wanted people to know that there's a third stake if they're interested.
There's a third. We're not handicapping that one. If you wanted to handicap the 9th, you'd have put the 9th on the rundown. What are you doing to me?
You know what I'm doing here? I'm just trying to add a little humor to the show. You know, a little Louisiana bread sandwich with some humor.
Let's go to that 7th race. Also stakes in the 9th as well, as Scott has pointed out. Andrew Day Memorial, 6 furlongs here in race number 7. Again, these are open company runners in this particular spot, right? Or are we back in the Louisiana breds? Louisiana breds here.
All Louisiana breds. We got a trio of Cajun breds. Yep.
Field of 9 in here. Who are you going to send them home a winner with in race 7?
I got to stop laughing first. I'm going right back to Paco, man. Right back to Paco, man. Number 8, Not on Herb. Paco Lopez aboard. You know, we're coming off a long layoff here. The last time we'll take a look at the win in the on January 11th. But I just think this horse has been again pointed for this race and going to get that perfect stalking trip. The likeliest winner and the speed of the race is Go Sugar. But he just hasn't been as fast lately. And he came in, you know, he won by a head, but at 1-9 last time. Down Delta Downs going 4 furlongs. Yes, 4 furlongs. Prep for a race going 4 furlongs last year, too. So I'm willing to take a swing against Go Sugar here with 9-2 on Not on Herb. And, man, I apologize for the rude radio. I didn't mean to cut you off as abruptly as I did.
Oh, no, it's all
good. It probably made for a little laughter for everybody out there. At least
that's right. We're having fun here. That's all that matters. Yeah, you've got the horse in here on top, Not on Herb. Again, you mentioned the win back in January, the Gary Palmisano Memorial. It's been a long time since then, so let's remind the fans a little bit about Not on Herb.
Lori's Wish last to make the top of this daunting fairground stretch. It's Go Sugar with Not on Herb trying to reel Go Sugar in the half mile in 45.79 seconds with Mitchell Murrow. It's Go Sugar. Go Sugar leads Not on Herb into this final fairgrounds furlong. Go Sugar, Not on Herb, charging hard on the outside and trying to get level. It's Go Sugar, Not on Herb for Jareth Ludbury. Not on Herb getting there inch by inch. Not on Herb and Go Sugar. Not on Herb today. Not on Herb over Go Sugar in the Gary P. Palmisano Memorial Stakes.
What a claim. $20,000 pickup has earned about $220,000 since then. Not on Herb. Top pick in here for Scott in the Andrew Day Memorial. Smashing an interesting runner in here for Todd Fincher, usually based this time of year, or Brendan Walsh was with Todd Fincher, New Mexico-based trainer, but now shows up for the first time in the Brendan Walsh barn in here. Smash It was a horse we saw in the Sunland Derby. Things didn't go well that day, but winner of the Zia Park Juvenile and ran in the Speakeasy out at Santa Anita last year as one of the horses that Fincher took out to Del Mar on the West Coast and ran pretty competitively out there. We'll see what Smash It has. First time against Louisiana breds, gets LASIK for the first time, and first time with Brendan Walsh. One of those kitchen sink changes going on with Smash It.
Yeah, an interesting entry. I almost picked, but I'm a little leery. He just went the wrong way so badly last year. You know, but it's interesting. I don't know how he ended up in Brendan's barn. It must have been a private purchase of some sort. For Brendan to take him on, I mean, you know, there's got to, you know, he looks like he's working fantastic. I just wonder, he struggled to win races even, you know, back at his best form as a 2-year-old. I just wonder if we're going to get back to that best form, because if we do, he's going to be a major player in these Louisiana bred races down there all winter.
All right, Not on Herb, top choice for Scott in Fairgrounds race number 7 on Saturday. That's going to wrap up our 8 stakes races to handicap this week on the First Call podcast. I'll be back on Tuesday next week for It's Official, which recaps the weekend and talks about some hot topics in racing. But again, a reminder, no version of this podcast, no Friday handicapping podcast next week as we take off a couple days for the Thanksgiving holiday. Scott, you're back next week with Bailey Armour, I believe, though, on your podcast, correct?
Yeah, Horse Sense will be this week. We went through the Hit It and Split It. If you want to check that out for the Gulfstream late horizontals, you got when we're recording this, you've got well over 24 hours still to check that out on the same YouTube channel here. And then I think we're gonna have a guest. We're gonna talk about a really fun promotion next week, next Wednesday on Horse Sense. So we'll be diving into some of the races there if you'd like to take a look. And I will have, along with you, some plenty of written content up on the blog, speaking to some of the stakes races that we won't get to talk about for the holiday. But wishing you and yours and you and yours and all of theirs a very good holiday.
All right. On behalf of Scott and everybody with First Bet and Express Bet, I'm Jeremy Plonk. Have a great weekend, everybody.